Boom, baby. What I hit him?
Your stripes.
Stripes, okay, cool. All right, man. So Fendi, man, you getting any sleep nowadays?
Literally just about a week ago, man. My baby, he just started sleeping through the night. But literally for the last 6-7 months, man, I had a whole routine. Like, he go down at 9. He would wake up about 3:30, 4. Feed him 8 ounces. That take about 10, yeah, 8, yeah. My boy's big. Ooh. Yeah, my baby, he's 8 months, he's 20 pounds. I mean, he's like 90 percentile. Yeah. Like, my babies are giants, like, for real. Like, my wife, she's 6'1", I'm 6'6". So my 2-year-old, he wears 4T. Like, legit, like my 2-year-old.
Hold up, bro, I have about to be 5-year-old.
I'm serious.
Yeah, like,
my 2-year-old wears 4T. He's 40 inches tall.
Yeah.
Like, look, we're going to Disney World next week.
Okay.
And
he gonna be riding the rides.
He can literally ride the rides. I'm like, me and my wife was like, yo, Fendi can ride the rides. I was like, no, sir. No. He's too young. He don't understand the concept of like holding on, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's literally tall enough to ride the rides at Disney World. But he's 40 inches, he wears 4T. He's a big boy. And then my baby, he's 20 pounds and he just turned 8 months. But yeah, man, I mean, like, literally, he get up at 3:30 in the morning. I feed him his bottle, and then I go hit the gym. I'll be done by 4 with him, and then I go hit the gym 4:35. Come back home, do some work. The wife will go to work. We have the homeschool nanny come to the crib. She works with them for a few hours in the morning, and then she will leave, and then I'm home with the boys until the wife get home. And I mean, I love it. Like, I just get to spend as much time as I possibly can with my children.
That's the beauty of entrepreneurship too, man.
Exactly.
Dog, both of y'all were athletes, man. Both of y'all were athletes, so y'all know how important it is to have a routine, right? Y'all know how important it is for discipline, things like consistency, structure, schedules, and parenting is no different. At least that's something I learned, because that's probably why I didn't make it to the league on the same level as y'all. My consistency wasn't up to par, right? I played when I wanted to play. But when I became a dad, dog, like, especially with 5 kids, like, schedule, and now you don't have to be militant. Like, I know people who are like super military type structure, but you do have to have a routine. Like, when the kids were younger, we would have the 3 B's, right? It would be bath, book, bed. Bath, book, bed, right? That was one of the routines we implemented, and the kids would look forward to it. And of course, we'd have like little nighttime prayers, and the twins are about to be 5 in a few weeks. And if I don't pray for them at night, even if it's like a basic little prayer, like, God, thank you for this day, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to be super deep and theological, but they like, Daddy, you ain't pray for me, right? Like, they feel like they can't go to sleep.
They'll hold you accountable,
They hold me accountable, dog.
Yeah, still in it.
And, you know, in them days when you feel like getting lazy, but dog, what type of structures, what type of systems or routines that y'all have? Because Fendi, you just named a few, dog, like that you actually see generating results.
I would say the first is like, I think this is super dope, because just like when you playing ball or anything you do, the people that enjoy the day-to-day things of it are the best at it. Like, for a receiver, the one that just enjoy running routes, catching the ball, the artistry of running your route and learning. You know, same thing about as being a father. Yeah. I enjoy the small things, like, you know what I'm saying, making sure that she's sitting down in her car seat, giving her a kiss, watching her smile, feeding her. Like, I love the fact that when I lay down, I got the bottle ready.
Yeah.
So I know she gonna wake up at least 2 times during the night. You know what I'm saying? Put that bottle on there, or when she lay down and then she don't feel me, and then she move around and then lay on my chest. Just the little things like that. So I mean, I just think it's amazing to hear fathers like us that love the day-to-day little things put in place. But I always go by this as an educator, as a former athlete. The change I want to see must first begin in me, right? So every day, you know, in sports, we have an itinerary. We know we're doing from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. And that's why we were successful on the field or in the game plan. So, like, with those same structures, if I'm getting up, I'm modeling. Everything when it comes to kids has got to be modeled. Much more is caught than taught. So I'm modeling getting up early and praying. You're modeling.
Look, let me tell you, hold up, because you ain't lying, bro. Like, in the car, right? Like, if you jam, whatever you listening to, they repeating, right?
Yeah.
If whatever you watching, they're imitating. Or like motions that they see you doing, they start copying that dance moves. Look, okay, DJ, you might have to edit this out, but look, I'm I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Can I be? Let me be real with y'all for just a second. So I don't know where the twins got, Okay, he said he edited it now. But anyway, I don't know where the twins got this from. It wasn't from me, certainly wasn't from Dale, their mom. But one of the twins was like, he just yelled out of nowhere. He was like, and I was like, right, and then I was like, okay, but then, hold up. The other twin, Devin, was like, Daddy, Kyron said, and I was like, you're not supposed to say that. He was like, but he just said, we're not supposed to say, right? Can I say? I was like, no. But it's like modeling, dog. Like trying to model for your kids the appropriate responses, the appropriate.
You're teaching temperament.
They pick up everything.
So I had to talk to my girls. Like it was like when you get irritable and frustrated with the kids, subconsciously you're teaching them that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because think about this with TV, they pay people millions of dollars to be on TV, thousands, but they pay billions for what goes into your subconscious mind through commercials and advertisement. So that subconscious mind is just taking in things all day. We got about what, like 80 to 90,000 thoughts to go through our mind per day. So if the kids see you quitting when you get tired, if they see you not finishing anything that you start, if they see any of those things, then it's gonna naturally rub off on them. Yeah. Like think of I seen the thing with Julian Edelman. His father was real hard on him, and he said they used to bump heads a lot when he was younger. But in hindsight, he appreciates it because that's the work ethic that he instills. He goes hard. It's like he's an extremist with the way he works out. He's an extremist with the way he do things, and that's how his dad was. Yeah. But if his dad was a quitter, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the value system that I've learned. So. Kids teach you so much. They hold you so accountable.
They hold you accountable.
They hold you accountable.
So,
because they honest. They gonna say, well, you didn't do what you said you was gonna do.
Well, with that being said, what are some of the things? Because, I mean, your oldest is 2.5, right?
Yeah.
And B, how old is yours?
4.
4?
4 and 9 months.
4 and 9 months. That's right. Okay, cool. But you can still learn a lot from, from babies too. Yeah. Right? Like I even heard Pastor Mike Todd talking about it, how he learned lessons about imagination from when his daughter was really, really young. And what are some of those lessons that you've learned from your kids? Because I know I got several. Not several kids, but several. I got both. You know what I'm saying? But like, what are some of those lessons? Because if you need, like, check it out. Because I know with my son, right? He's 9, about to be 10. He has autism. Well, he's on the spectrum for autism. Okay. He's super high functioning. You wouldn't even really know he had autism unless you interacted with him for a long period of time. But my perspective of the world, like my whole thought process, completely changed when we were working with him and. Just figuring out like what autism was. We became students of this whole thing. And since then, man, like he has completely changed the way I view the world, how I interact with people, and it's been mind blowing. You know what I'm saying? But like, it don't have to be that deep, dog.
No. I mean, for me, the biggest lesson I say with my oldest, and again, I refer to my oldest because he's a little older. He's 2.5, so I've had more experiences with him. Not that I haven't had any experiences with my younger one, but it's just like me being Nigerian, right? Like, if you know anything about Nigerian parents, it's like, it is my way or the highway. You're gonna do this, come hell or high water. Like, that's it. And that's the way I was kind of raised. And my wife, she's not Nigerian, you know what I'm saying? And me, when it comes to being a disciplinarian, that's what I know, right? That's how I was taught. That's what I know. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's a different generation. It's a different day. And my kid is 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a toddler, right? Like, I can't, like, I don't want to say I can't, but I'm not going to expect him to, I'm not going to treat him like a dog as far as like, hey, you do what I say. If you don't do this, I'm going to slap you.
You should have a job.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But what he's taught me is that, like, he's just, come down to his level. And what I mean by that, like, instead of just like yelling at him and screaming at him when he's not doing something, I really try to have a conversation with him, an intellectual conversation with him for where he can understand, like, hey, why are you doing this? Get him to understand his emotions, his feelings. Like, why are you angry? Hey, use your words. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Talk to daddy. And I'll come down right here and be like, talk to daddy. What's going on? I think I might
need you to come down and talk to me.
But for real, because what I've learned is like, when I approach him that way, he's able to communicate what's wrong. He's able to understand why he's feeling the way he's feeling. We'll say, okay, hey, we're not gonna do this right now. Let's take some time, take a deep breath. We'll come back to it. Or hey, I understand you're upset, I understand you're angry. let's go do something else. Let's go paint. Let's go play some ball or whatever. Let's go outside, and then we'll come back to it or whatever. You know what I mean? And honestly, I learned that from the nanny. I learned that from the lady who comes to our house, you know, every day, and she works with the children. I was like, how did you get him to do that? Like, you know, like literally she'll like have.
Like, it's cool that you can do it, but like you said, I'm very hands-on. Like,
I'm very hands-on. How can I do that too? You know, even with like potty training, you know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. And like, yo, kids will teach you patience, bro. I don't have
potty training ain't no joke, bro.
I have no patience, bro.
Dog, try potty training too at the same time. Like, that was the worst thing ever.
I have no patience, bro.
If it wasn't for COVID, I don't think I would have got it, dog. Because I was totally off from everything. Like, I was off from DJing, I was off from radio, I was off from everything. Yeah. So I said, you know what? If anything good is gonna come out of this pandemic and this lockdown,
my kids gonna be
y'all two getting potty trained before we come back to the city.
You know why the patience thing is so powerful? Because what we fail to realize, the kids going through stuff too. Ooh. But as adults, we're expected to know how to express ourselves. But there's a term in psychology called arrested development. When you go through something traumatic, your brain freezes up. And what your brain naturally wants to do is protect itself, right? So it thinks of excuses or some kind of outlet to cope. So kids haven't even developed to know how to really just express themselves the right way. So when you get down on his level, and you're telling him, use your words.
It breaks down all barriers.
Yes. Yeah. I done dated women that don't know how to use their words. They use their fists or they use their Twitter fingers. They be going off on you.
It's amazing what it does.
So
it literally breaks down all barriers, man.
It breaks down the barriers, man. It's so powerful, man. That patience, that love and that patience and that kindness. Like 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind, it holds no record of wrong. Nothing about that is emotion, it's all decision. So you're making a decision and I think that's why it requires love. Cause but see, the thing about it is with the kids, you know, they're teaching us stuff because they're fearless and free. I can honestly say the thing I've learned the most from kids, especially my daughters, I'm free. Daddy, I want to be a unicorn. I want to fly. And I remember when I was little, when I thought I was a Ninja Turtle. And I would flip off the dumpster when my mama, you know, them big dumpsters in the apartment, my mama said, I'd do a backwards flip off of it.
We used to do some wild stuff.
I just thought I could do anything. And then I hit an age where I started experiencing fear.
Oh, yeah.
And started thinking about, man, you can't really do that. You can't, and it was troubling. So now I try to instill that into I appreciate and coach her up on what she want to do, because I think that's beautiful to be fearless. And like I heard CJ say on a podcast one time, he said, man, people only want to invest in their kids if they the next LeBron James or they the next Bill Gates.
Yeah, man.
You need to find out if your child, I know a kid he's on the spectrum as well, high functioning, right?
Yo.
He can draw what's the name ship? What's them ships? A cruise ship.
Okay.
He is so intricate. He talks about what this person does. Like, that's a skill set. He's like 6 years old. And he goes into extreme detail. Are you investing in him? We were doing a after-school program in the projects. It was a girl that could do a contortionist thing. Like, she could get on her chest and then put her feet around and like
walking
and do all of that stuff. But she live in the projects and nobody's investing in her. So it's like, are we really investing in our kids? And that's one thing it taught me, to be fearless. That's what I learned from the kid, being fearless and like really just like, you know, going after whatever it is, because they don't have the capabilities, but I think they help us to see our visions better, because I feel like they're closer to God, because they were like recently with God. I feel like, you know,
man, you gotta study your kids. You gotta study your kids, man. Like, because your children will tell you exactly what they're into and who they are. You just gotta watch them.
Even if they don't physically, verbally tell you.
Just watch them. You can see a talent or a gift that child might possess. And a lot of times, parents try to live vicariously through their children, or try to have their children do what they wanted to do or what they didn't get the opportunity to do. And it's easy to do that, but really, like, you have a lot of cases where children don't want to be their parents. They don't want to do what their parents did. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you really have to take the time to know your children. You can't just be present. You have to have a presence. Right? But you have to study your children. Know who they are. I know my two boys are gonna be completely different. Yes, they're 2 years apart, they're gonna grow up together, but they're gonna be completely, I mean, even now, just seeing how Fendi was at this stage and how Prince is where he is now, they're two completely different kids. And it's just a matter of like knowing who they are and taking that time to study them and spend time with them so that you can, parent them the way they need to be parented.
No, I've done that a million times. I've asked my kids, like, hey, what do you like? Do you want to do this or you want to try this? And one minute it's yes, the other minute it's no. But then I step back and I watch them, what they're playing with, the conversations that they're having with their siblings. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's it, right? That's how we discovered that, my daughter loves to dance or is really into like media and like videography and drama. And I was like, okay, cool. I can get with that. I was in theater back at Elsie, you know what I'm saying? Or like Dylan loves to draw, right? But watching it, and even with the twins, right? They look exactly the same, born 16 minutes apart, right? But they are two totally different humans.
Yeah.
Like with different personalities, different likes, different dislikes. And you have to discipline differently. You have to teach differently.
Yeah.
You have to instruct and love and encourage and support differently. Like, even though they're the same and sleep in the same room and look the same, I might dress them the same way, but they two totally different humans, bro. I forget all the time, dog. Like, there was a joke when Kyron broke his arm, and I told a group of people, I was like, yeah, he just broke his arm. And I was like, yeah, I had to go ahead and do it real quick so I could tell them apart. And, we're always trying to find little things to like distinguish between the two, dog. Like, even at 5, man, they look so much alike, man. But, dog, y'all are clearly like really, really good dads, right? Very present, very involved, which is why I wanted to invite you. But dad guilt is something that's real. I hear more moms talking about it. Mom guilt. I've never really heard anybody use the term dad guilt before. But we can celebrate all the highs and praise each other and pat each other on the back all day long. But I know more often than not, we go to bed feeling like, dang, I didn't do enough. Or dang, like, I really hope I didn't mess this kid up as much as I think I did, right? Like, does that ever happen to you, man? And if so, how do you deal with it? How do you battle it? How do you overcome it? Because I know y'all don't just sit there and lie down and just be like, okay, cool, I had a bad day, I'm gonna wallow in depression. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you deal with those failures as a father?
That's a loaded question.
Cause they come, dog. Like,
you wanna go first?
I think the thing that comes to the top of my mind really is just time. Like, yes, even though I am present and I'm involved, very involved, there's still, duty calls. There's things and responsibilities that I have to do. There's things that I have to do to take care of my family, make sure that, we got food and mouths are fed. So sometimes I think the dad guilt comes like, man, like, am I spending enough time? Because, bro, sometimes I be tired, bro. Like, I'm just tired. I get up early, I work, what I'm saying? Like, there's things that need to be done.
You don't never look tired, bro.
And it just seems like, especially at that age, like, toddler, they just got so much energy. Like, it's just nonstop. And bro,
they're just wake up on 10, but they wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning,
They're so regimented too, as far as like their clock, their body. They gonna get up at 7. They gonna take that nap at 2. They gonna be ready to go at 3:34 until 8, 9 o'clock.
It's time to go back down to bed.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like sometimes you're trying to get work done, and you're like, all right, hey, I got you. Hold on, cut the TV on. Just cut on Coco Melon for a second. Sometimes
Coco Melon.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is real. And so I think that's where, for me at least, the whole dad guilt comes into play, because I'm like, man, like, I could have just put the work down. It's not going nowhere. It's always going to be a to-do list.
Always.
It's always going to be some work to do. But my son will not be 2.5 forever. My son eventually be 5, 10, 13. And then as far as like influence and instilling things that we want to instill into him, you really got a small window, because once they hit that 13, 14, 15 range, they're going to be influenced by their friends in school and trying to be cool.
Middle school age, especially.
I got a teenager too. I got a teenager too.
Exactly, bro. So that time is really precious, to where like, this is your window to spend time with them. This is your window to really influence them and instill those values that you want them to grow up with. Because once they hit that middle school age, it's going to be a whole different set of influence. And you hope that you've laid a good foundation for them, so that they can make right decisions, when they're with their peers. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably for me. Just like, hey, put the work down.
Spoken like a true entrepreneur.
Bro, spend time with your kids.
It's hard, man. It's hard. B, how about you, bro?
Oh, man. So
just a whole lot of people gonna see this. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. And you know what I realized? Like, after like doing therapy, and like I'm in school to become a therapist now, man, just being transparent, because my story could save somebody else. Because it wasn't me and my dad, I'm about to be 37 on Saturday. Me and my dad just started saying, I love you.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So as a result of not that vulnerability, so I gotta be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? I got kids out of wedlock, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, baby mama.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've always loved kids.
Yeah.
Being a star athlete, going through school, draft out of high school in baseball, top football player. My best game I ever played was a game my dad came to, football.
Wow.
One game he came to, that was my best game. So I said I wasn't gonna repeat the cycle. So I vehemently was opposed to it. And being in a position where I'm not waking up next to my baby every day. And I'm that nurturing dad, so I tear down those stereotypes. Like, I'm more nurturing than you. Half these females, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love the kids. I go to daycares and read to kids, like everything. Like,
you even wrote a children's book.
Yeah, I got baby fever. I'm a dude, I'm in Walmart and I gotta suppress that me and this little baby is so cute. I wanna go hold the baby, but I'm gonna look like a weirdo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they don't celebrate men being nurturing.
I'm over my baby fever, though.
So, and I love babies, bro.
Nah,
but the fact that I don't get to wake up and then fighting the system with, wanting to be more involved, because your money is welcome, but your time isn't. With a system that benefits off you being
Hold on. I know what you mean. I'm sure Fendi know what you mean, but you kind of like roll through that. Your money is welcome, but your time isn't.
Your money is welcome. So basically, if I say, hey, I want to give you $200 or $300 more a month for child support, look at God. Hey, I want to see my baby a day or two a week more. I don't think that's stable.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not supported. So my dad guilt comes more in a sense where I know my baby girls love me. Oh man, Brinley, that's my little superstar.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my little, then Alani look just like me, you know what I'm saying? But shoot. I used to get anxiety sometimes. Me and my roommate from college, my teammate, we was talking, we both got daughters, like, man, we're gonna have to marry them off. So I gotta go harder in my mentoring, because I'm looking at how these little middle school and high school boys think. And you ain't gonna be trying to get my daughter in some back seat under some bleachers, just being real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We know what it's like on a college campus. You know what I'm saying? So my dad guilt comes in the fact where I want to be there every day. Yeah. I want to play a major role, a bigger role, and the barriers it take emotionally, financially with the courts and everything to really get more involved is, that's why I started my father's program. You know what I'm saying? But that is extremely stressful, and we don't even really have an outlet for men enough to be vulnerable to talk about that and to get the help. So that's my dad guilt, because every time, imagine seeing your baby and knowing that you got to take her back in 2 hours, or you got to take her back in 2 days.
You feel like you gotta rush, like
yeah, it's kind of like when you need a massage real bad, and as soon as you get there, you ain't got an hour, so it feels so good, your massage, because you need it because you're sore, but you know it's gonna end in an hour.
Yeah.
It's like you can't even really enjoy the time like you need to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Or the random moments that you probably would get, just waking up and. It's definitely something that I try not to complain about as often. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I do it a lot. Like I talk about how the twins wake me up at 4:00 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, look, I'm not Eric Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like let me get my extra hour. I'd rather wake up at 5. You know what I'm saying? But no, I think my dad guilt comes from growing up I had a horrible temper, like very very frustrated kid. Because I grew up without my dad. Well, let me back up. My dad was present when he was present. He was in and out of jail, like a lot. You know what I'm saying? But when he was out, dude, like best dad ever, right? Taught me how to build stuff because he was a master carpenter. Took me fishing, did all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he just wasn't there. Like he missed my entire high school career. That was a career, but it was a long, you know what I'm saying? I had a lofty high school career, and he missed it all, dog. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like you don't remember, dog. I was the only one pulling up in that Navigator, dog. Like, I ain't say what kind of career. I'm just saying, like. But I had a bad temper, bro, and that doesn't just go away when you become a dad. It doesn't just go away when you get married. Like that temper, like is still there, and it's still present. You know what I'm saying? I have to work on that. I have, to make sure, the world doesn't just stop pissing you off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man,
and so
that's deep.
there have been moments where I've lost my temper, not on my children, but they've seen me get angry where I've had outbursts of anger, right? And so having to teach my kids that it's okay to be angry, but sin not. right? The Bible even teaches us that it's all right to get mad. You're going to get mad. You're going to get frustrated. But how do you deal with those emotions? How do you do you have outlets? Do you have things that you can work on? So by me working on it myself, I'm able to teach those skills and those techniques and those coping mechanisms to my children, before it's too late. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, and so I go to bed, like there have been times where I've had an outburst of anger, for anything, whether it was a conflict between me and their mom, or maybe they just frustrated, or maybe I was just tired. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes
irritable.
The same thing could happen to you when you're tired versus when you got tons of energy and you respond differently. So learning that and what to do and how to channel it. So I'm able to basically help my kids, if they struggle with anger and things like, especially the twins, because they fight all the time, bro. That's why that Super Sharing book was so dope. You know what I'm saying?
You know how I learned that? So I was doing the after school program in the projects. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed everybody want to come in and mentor, they want to sit kids at the table and say, sit down. And I realized I hated school, but I love learning.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit down while you just give me worksheets and just work. Yeah. I learn by doing. That's why athletes, if people taught according to learning styles, athletes would do better. We learn by doing.
Yeah.
We learn by doing our whole life. Then you get in the classroom and say, learn another way. That don't work. You know what I'm saying? So what I did was, it's important that you said how they would be playing, they interact, because a lot of teachable moments, because we lack patience, we go off and miss it. It go over our head. It's a teachable moment. So I would just play with the kids. I'm all-time quarterback. We playing football.
Yeah.
You're gonna see who's selfish. You're gonna see who got a bad attitude.
Oh, for sure.
You're gonna see who don't hustle when they not getting the ball. You're gonna see who talking about who negative. You're gonna see all that. All I can do is I can coach you up on it. And I'm gonna find out who my alpha male or alpha female. I used to let the girls play. Everybody play. We get in there and we find out who the leaders and I just work on those different skill sets that they had. And that's just really my method. It's nothing deep with the kids, because I'm always drawing the kids who had the same struggles that I did. Yeah. I was angry. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was upset. I felt out of place a lot of times, but those outlets and being, playing ball and having decent friends and stuff like that kind of kept me from a lot. But yeah, man, if I can sit up there and use that lack of patience that I didn't have growing up and exude that energy into them.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Man, so, I told y'all, I didn't really have my dad's presence a lot, right? But then when he got out of jail, he was very instrumental. We developed a really good relationship as I got older. He got to connect with my older kids before he passed away. He would always tell me, he'd be like, man, Dave, I could share with you kind of what not to do more than I can share with you what to do, right? Yeah. And he was very open, right? And it was very helpful and therapeutic for me. But where are you going to for advice? How are you, where did you learn how to be a good dad, right? Was it innately in you? Was it instinctive? Because I don't know about y'all, but when I found out we were pregnant for the first time back in 2008, man, you know what I'm saying? Still in college, no job. I was frightened. I did not know how to be a dad, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody does, but I'm curious. Were you preparing before you had kids? Did you oh crap, I gotta get this together now that we're pregnant? Did you have a good role model? Did you YouTube it? Did you read a book? What did you do to become a good dad, bro?
There's no rule book, bro.
There's not, dog. I don't care.
It's trial and error, and then obviously the examples that you had set before you. Again, I had mentioned this earlier. My father was a very strict disciplinarian, and so it was just a no nonsense, no BS type of situation, and that's kind of how that was my vision of I'm just gonna raise my kids the same way. You do what you know. You know what I'm saying? Unless. You have some situation where you have some people I didn't like that experience growing up, so I'm gonna make sure I stay as far away from that as possible. And I think for me, something that I experienced, even being a high level athlete and very successful in that regard, being able to, get a scholarship and get school paid for, go play at the professional level. One thing that I always felt was that my, how can I say this? I guess I was celebrated by my ability.
Yeah.
Right? And if I had a good game, life was sweet. You know what I'm saying? And if I didn't have a good game, life wasn't sweet. And I just don't want to put that on my boys if they end up playing sports. I don't want them to feel hey, daddy only loves you when you're playing ball or when you're playing well. Or when,
so are you cool with your kids becoming football players? As dangerous as the sport is, and as involved as you were, you know the behind the scenes, you played at the professional level. Are you okay with your son saying one day, Daddy, I want to play football?
You know, me and my wife, we had these conversations
He's like, you sure
all
you want to
the
play basketball,
time.
son? Like, which is equally dangerous, you know what I'm saying?
Baseball, golf, something, tennis.
That's a tough question, man. It's just a lot, especially with them being so young. Like the whole head thing, you know, the whole head trauma, and just like kids ramming into each other at such a young age. If my kid if he's in, you know, high school or middle school, and you know, then we can have a conversation. But I wouldn't put him in Pee Wee. I wouldn't put him in nothing like that. And honestly, like, you know, the kid may be so big, you know, like as far as football may be out of the question. You know, he might be 6 years old and 6 feet tall. You know, just go on the court. You know, but even if he don't play sports,
right? Yeah.
Like,
okay.
If my kid loves to sing and dance, and he has a lot of, you know, he does a lot of things in that regard. Like, he could, you know, be in theater or drama or whatever. Like, and that's cool too. Like, as long as he, like, whatever he wants to do, I would never like pressure him or be like, oh, you need to be like your dad, or you need to play football, you need to play basketball, or like people used to come to, oh, what sport you play? Like, what if I don't play a sport?
You know what I'm saying?
Because I'm big, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I just have to play a sport. Like, so does that mean?
I did play professional football.
I did play
I did though, but, you know, I'm just saying.
But why you gotta?
But my point is, like, I don't want them to, and not that my dad made me feel like, oh, I was only loved if I, you know, scored 20 points or caught a touchdown. It's just that I had a really big struggle of finding acceptance in my abilities.
Right.
And if I wasn't playing well, or if I wasn't, you know, if I just had a bad game, it affected at that time, it affected my whole life.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I felt like, man, I didn't play a good game. Dad's not gonna be happy. Like, and then my confidence is down. And then I started seeking attention, and, you know, from coaches, or, you know what I'm saying, like seek that validation, needing validation from coaches without, you know, and then that turns to like low self-esteem, low confidence, and putting all your worth in what you do, right? And like, so like, you know, football and basketball was just something that I did. It wasn't who I was. You know what I mean? And a lot of kids get wrapped up in that because of their upbringing.
Probably why it was easy. I won't say easy, but it probably is what allowed you to make the transition from basketball to football. You know, basketball wasn't your identity, although that's what you really wanted your whole life. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole other topic for another day. But dog, I was thinking, you said something that was really powerful, man. Like, you know, because I always loved basketball. That was actually one of my dreams. I just wasn't, you know, really good enough. But because I wasn't good enough, I studied the sport, right? Like, I have a lot of basketball knowledge, right? Because I had to be smarter to make up for my lack of ability. You know, typical white kid in all black neighborhood.
Hey, but you had a jump shot though.
Hey, you feel me? I'm glad you remember. You
had a jump shot though.
You know, I usually
all
say,
the white boys can shoot usually.
Hey, you gotta guard me from half court, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Get your hands up.
But with that being said, I was like, I knew even before I had my son, I was like, and even with my daughter too, I was like, yo, she probably might want to play ball. I wasn't gonna force it, but I did know one thing, I wasn't gonna be able to coach them. Like, I knew that I could not be their coach, their little league coach, their whatever coach in basketball.
Yeah.
I'll be a soccer coach.
It's gonna be too intense.
You feel me? No, I would be too like, son, come on, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Like,
You'll be like that coach that came in and blocked the shot.
That's me. You know what I'm saying?
I saw that. Come on, man.
I'd have him outside doing drills. So I got my brother-in-law who actually played semi-pro, and I was like, hey man, you have a basketball, you know, organization already. You coach them. I can just be their parent, right? I just want to support.
Yeah.
I want to be a good dad. I don't have to be the great coach.
It takes a lot of humility to even realize that and take that. I think that's dope, because a lot of people don't want to. It take a village, but you might not have the skill set in a certain area to help your son or your daughter get to this level. Yeah. And instead of having enough humility to reach out to somebody like, hey, bro, this you.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, perfect example.
That's tough.
Y'all already know my kids are mixed, right? So I'm white, their mom is black. Having to have those culturally relevant conversations, because at the end of the day, although they're mixed, society is going to first see them as black, right?
Absolutely.
And so knowing that, having to prepare them with how to interact and deal with everything that we have going on in our messed up society, right? And so like bringing in my father-in-law, who is 60 plus, you know, African-American male, Baptist pastor, grew up in Fifth Ward, you know, he's been through, segregation, you know what I'm saying? He's been through it all. And even if he hadn't, but having that support to come in and be like, hey, son, this is how, to interact with police officers. This, you know what I'm saying? Like coming from that, like having those conversations that probably would just come from a place of natural for somebody like yourself, you know what I'm saying? But like, it just is what it is.
That says a lot about your character.
That's tough, yeah.
That says a lot about your
because I want my son to make it back home too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's difficult for you to have that conversation.
It's difficult for me to have that conversation
because the experience is going to be different.
Regardless of how culturally relevant I can be perceived as, or how many black friends I have that say I'm cool or I'm down, I'm still not black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But son, you are.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But thank God that you got the presence of a black male who had those conversations with him. You know, it's a real thing, bro. I mean, like, we all want to do well and make sure that, we put our families in positions that we grew up better than, right? I grew up in A-Leaf. I'm from the West, like through and through.
You know what I'm talking about?
And it's just like, for me, like, now I live in Cypress, Katy area, like it is what it is. But hey, it's like I want to grow and evolve and be better and put my sons and my children, my family in a better situation than I came up in. I mean, that's what you want. That's what you strive for.
Okay. So keep going, because I got something for you, dog.
Yeah, hit me. I'm just saying, it's just like,
bro,
you don't want, as a parent, you just don't want your children to have the same struggles you had, but you also want them to be grounded.
That's what I was getting at right there.
You want them to be grounded.
How do you find that balance, bro? Because I took my daughter, we were raising her in Katy, Cinco Ranch. You already know, all right?
It's different.
There's a lot of entitlement. Let me just say that. You feel me? I took them back to the West. I took them back to Two Worlds off Cook Road in between Beach Nut and Bel Air. For those of you that didn't know, you know, right? Just right down the street from Hastings and Elsick. Sorry, Taylor. But, so I took my daughter back to my old neighborhood, and this girl gonna have the audacity to be like, Daddy, did y'all have running water? I said, girl, if you don't get your tail back. I was like, man, it was not that bad, but just goes to show you that keeping them in that environment, in that bubble, is not always a good thing. So how do you find that balance? My kid's mother and I, we joke around all the time, like, look, I'm gonna just go drop you off with your grandparents out in 5th Ward, or I'm gonna go leave you out in 3rd Ward one day and let you just figure it out like we did.
Well, I think the most important thing with that is working in education, seeing kids from either the hood, lower middle class, upper middle class, and privilege, still a lot of times have the same paradigm. Yeah. Too many parents are existing with their kids and not raising them. Like you said, the difference between being present and having a presence.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I did that for a few years, bro.
A lot of times, because we're just a lot of adults are dealing with the monotony of life, and they're unhappy, and they're so influenced by what society said you gotta have. Ain't no cookie cutter way for parenting, for a relationship, or anything. You gotta do what's best for your situation based on what God done bless you with, right? So I think the most important thing is not to attach, you were talking about how when you had a good game, you got celebrated. And other times you would just tolerate it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what we have to do is teach our children that, okay, it's cause and effect. Not that just because you work, you get this, but hey, it's something like it'll be something on the ground. Hey man, pick that up. I ain't put it there. I don't care.
Ooh, that irks me, dog.
But kids is quick to do that, but that's a teachable moment, right?
It is.
That's a teachable moment. You're gonna do what's best for the team. And the team is this unit within this house. You're gonna do what's best for the school. You represent this school.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you see some trash whether you put it there or
man, our
not.
school whack. Well, you go to the school. You a part of the whackness, right? So what we have to do is to start attaching. We have to start talking about this where you at, this where you want to get to. This is what's in between, right? But with the kids, we're gonna attach. Okay, when you work hard, these are the fruits of it. You can tell the tree by the fruit it bears. So we have to teach the kids about the fruits of the spirit, the type of character, the type of integrity that it takes to get what you need, so they don't have that sense of entitlement. Because subconsciously, we grow up and we put our kids in a better situation that can be looked at as privilege, so they don't gain that resilience and that grit. And the two biggest determining factors on human beings being successful is resilience and exposure. So we're exposing them, but we're not giving them no resilience. So we have to make everything like, hey, look, you're gonna clean your room, you're gonna have this done, but this is why.
That's another challenge.
This is the
itself.
importance of it. It's important to clean your room because of this. It's important to brush your teeth in the morning because you don't want that dragon breath. You know what I'm saying? Brush your teeth. And it's good habits and hygiene and teaching the importance of habits and routines. But I say this, the change I want to see must first begin in me. If I'm disciplined and I'm setting the tone.
That's good.
If I'm disciplined and I'm setting the tone every day, I'm modeling it on a consistent basis. Now it's easier for me to hold you accountable. A lot of parents, and I know my mom was struggling with this. She was raising me and my sister by herself before she got married to my stepdad. It was hard for her to hold me accountable sometimes because it requires so much from her.
Yeah.
To really make sure I stay punished and really don't do this and this.
Now
you punishing
know how
yourself.
hard it is, bro. You know how hard it is to commit to a nighttime bed routine with your kids. Oh, even beyond that, to commit to a morning routine, because what it requires you to do as a parent is to get up before them and take care of your morning routine. People used to ask like, dang, Dave, you wake up at such and such time. I'm like, yeah, because that's the only time I can get stuff done.
That's my only quiet time.
You feel me?
So what we do is don't be disciplined, then get frustrated at them because they not disciplined, because we not disciplined. Then we project our bad energy on them because we frustrated because we ain't do what we were supposed to do. Now they not doing what they supposed to do. That's kind of a tongue twister. And now we all confused.
Especially from somebody
you broke it down. I think it's just structure. I think that's really all it boils down to. It's structure. It don't matter what the house look like, whether it's a crib in the Fifth Ward or a crib in Katy. Like the structure. What is the paradigm like? You know, what are you instilling?
Right.
It don't matter if you got a white picket fence or you looking at a sewer. Like, what is the structure in the home? And I think you hit the nail on it.
Yeah, it ain't got nothing to do with money.
You hit the head of the nail, or how you say it? I can't even.
I be messing it up.
Nail on the head.
The nail in the coffin.
The head on the nail.
Bro, you got it, dog. You got it.
You said it, bro. It's like it's structure. It's instilling and being consistent, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's probably one of my hardest things with the kids is being consistent, because some days it's like, things happen, bro, or kids having a tantrum, or something happens at work, or, whatever. Things happen within the family, and it's like, hey, dinner's 7:30 or dinner's 7, bath time 7:30, bed 8. And if that boy's not in bed at 8, now that's gonna mess with me and my wife nighttime.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to do that. So it's like, and even like my wife, she'll hold me accountable, like, hey, bed, bath, book, whatever. Like, hey, it's 7:30. I know when 7:30 hit, it's gonna be dinner.
There have been days, I ain't gonna lie, there have been days when I'm like, Lord, if I could just make it to 7:30. Like, just get my nerves. If I could just make it to 8:30 so I can have a little peace and quiet, you know what I'm saying?
And if you miss
melatonin and Benadryl, here we come.
Hey, you know what? That's funny. Hey, literally last night, so we're trying to put baby Finn to sleep in his room on his own, right? So right now he sleeps in Prince's room because Prince is in our room. So he sleeps in Prince's room because he's still in the crib. So we're trying to move him over to the big boy bed so we can get Prince from our room to his room. So I'm like, hey, you lay in the big boy bed, Daddy gonna get you some ice cream. You know what I'm saying? A little bribery, whatever, right? A little give and take. And so last night, it was the first night, literally. We're trying to get him in the bed. I took him up there, patting him on the back, patting him on the back. And then he'll kind of doze, and like he's literally like hanging off the edge that he don't want me. And he's smart too. He'll like hold on to my arm, right? Hold on to my arm while I'm patting it. And it was about an hour. The wife came up. She was like, "Hey, bruh, this look." I said, "Can we give him some melatonin or something?" She was like, "You're not about to drug my baby to go to sleep." I'm like, bruh, I'm just trying to get him to sleep. I'm not saying we gotta do it every night. Let's just get him to, you know what I'm saying? So then hear you say it.
Hey, look, it is what it is.
Benadryl and melatonin, it's a go.
It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret.
Said it's a
just
go.
don't mix the two. Like, you get
We good.
Yeah. DJ, because you got several of yourself,
I told you I wasn't tripping. Melatonin and Benadryl, he getting it tonight.
Sleep is scarce, bro.
He getting it tonight.
I bet if she don't feel me, she gonna wake up. But I'm so soft on that, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I gotta do better.
You got a girl. My girl was first. I mean, I don't know if it's different for boys, but my girls definitely softened me up big time. My first daughter saved my life, and then my number 5, I call her Little Cinco, Carter. She saved my life again. You know what I'm saying? Because I was going through a little thing of depression, and but they definitely have a way of softening you up, bro. Like way more than I ever could have thought. Like, first of all, I never thought I could have kids. Like, that was not on my radar, bro. At all. You know what I'm talking about?
Look at you now.
I was the only child, but you know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man, it's crazy how they definitely will change your entire existence, your future, the trajectory of your life, for the good. And it'll happen whether you want it to or not. It's just a matter of you getting ahead of it and being proactive and intentional and, being the change instead of being changed. You know what I'm saying?
It's like unlearning and relearning.
Oh, it is.
I'm dispelling all of these things. You can always tell somebody who ain't got no kids when they trying to tell you what to do. Well, you get to do this. Pause. Chill out.
I just let them talk. Like,
yeah, but it's like having a daughter. I think it was great for me to have daughters first.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that son after I get married, but it's like I'm ready for that. But me having a daughter first, it's dispelling a lot of that toxic masculinity. And I hate to throw that out there because every feminist in the world, everybody want to try to say that, but it's real, man. I started learning at 3 and 4 years old to fake like you ain't hurt. Don't cry. You know how when you 4 and 5, somebody that's 7 or 8 seems like they're way bigger than you.
Yeah,
so you playing football with the big boys, but I'm learning, I'm a headhunter because I want to impress them. I'm 4 and 5 years, I'm about to take anybody out. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing karate moves on everybody. I'm just trying to be super tough, and I'm learning how to suppress and project negative energy on people just because I want to seem more masculine. So if you're not hyper masculine, hypersexual, or like the athlete, it's like they say you're not really a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then having a daughter made me think about something like, man, I wouldn't want nobody to treat my daughter like that. But then I had to realize, dang, what's wrong with me? Well, I think it's only sufficient for my daughter to get the right treatment, not every woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely. So I started thinking about stuff like that, about the importance of, being gentle. Because them daughters, they'll look you in the eyes.
I probably shouldn't say this on camera, but look, since we being honest, if it were, look, my daughter is what helped me kick my porn addiction. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up honest and transparent. Like, your kids are like mirrors, and the moment I had a baby girl, I was like, all of a sudden everybody became like a daughter to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ooh. And I'm talking about, like, I had been exposed to that type of material at a very young age, like 6, 7 years old. So it was just embedded in me. It was just natural. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't know how to be a godly man. And you feel me? Like, especially growing up when we grew up, it was like, hey, just, smash as many as you can, whoever you know what I'm talking about? So, but having a baby girl will definitely, and I don't think having a girl by itself will change you, but my desire to be a good model and example for my daughter. So I'm not gonna just say having a daughter will change anybody, but definitely for me, wanting to like raise her in a way where she grows up with integrity and knows how to be treated by a man and sees it first for me. I want to be the first one.
And on the flip side of that, I think even showing I don't have any daughters, so showing our sons, how to treat a woman. Like, someone once told me the best way I can love my children is loving their mother.
Come on.
Yeah,
right?
Straight up.
And like, this is really, really dope because, like, in my house, just this past weekend, like, Steph and I, we were like, we had some music playing, we was dancing and just, we was just, was having a good time, just chilling.
I ain't never seen Fendi dance, dog.
I'm just saying, it's not very good.
Look like he doing the ladder drills.
It's not very good. But this is what I noticed though, my son, when he sees Steph and I, like, when we're holding hands or we hugging each other, he lights up. Yeah. He loves it. He's like, like, he'll come and he'll be like, Daddy, come dance, Mommy, come dance. He'll literally pull us together.
So he's normalizing.
And so
that's important.
And like, we could be having a spirited conversation. We could be, we could be at
basically, you mean they could be arguing.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like, spirited conversation.
Use that.
But he'll sense that, bro, and it's like
that energy.
When your son is grab you to grab your wife's hand, and it's like I can't say no. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but he really enjoyed seeing us like. We was like, I brought a little Polaroid, like old school Polaroid, like we making like a little scrapbook or whatever, just doing stuff in the house, just for memories, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got everything on the phone.
You take the picture, it pops out.
You got everything on the phone, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God, anything can happen, with the digital stuff. So like, it'd be dope to have like a scrapbook of just pictures of us in the house. So I had the little Polaroid, and we taking pictures. Yeah, it's dope. And he was like, picture, and he like pulled us together. It's just cool to see that example that you lay before your kids, right?
Because you know exactly where it came from.
And you want him treating women right.
Yeah, but on the flip side, I know there's a lot of people out there, and B, maybe you could speak to this, but like, even if you're not married to the mother of your children, right? Still respecting their mother, honoring their mother, regardless of the tension or whatever the kind of relationship it is, because you can still love somebody that's unlovable, blah, blah, blah. But like, it still applies to everybody.
For sure.
Whether you're married, you're not married, you're together, you're not together, showing your sons and your daughters how to treat a lady, right? And how to just treat people in general, but especially their mom. You know what I'm saying?
I think the mantle is even, the responsibility is even, it's required no matter what the situation. You know what I'm saying? Just like you play a game, whether it's raining, snowing, or it's sunny outside, whether you co-parenting or you're married, you still have that same responsibility to love on that person. And I think that it's imperative because your child is growing up in a situation that could, that's in a sense that it's a little dysfunctional because it's not the way God ordained it to be, but you know, God still allowed that miracle to happen. So you still have a responsibility to do it. So, I mean, just walking at a high level, and I think you gotta have a lot of patience then. Cause it's already tough, you know, being married, raising a child together, because it's two different human beings. Yeah. But when you're not married,
that's a whole different ballgame.
It's gonna be tough as well. So I just think, you know, you gotta be careful about those spirited conversations. Be careful about the examples and the things that you're doing, man, because you know, love still needs to lead at the forefront, no matter what.
You know, raising kids is a lot like pool, right? You know, especially when you're breaking it up. You can aim perfectly at the ball, and you could hit it with just enough velocity and momentum. Look at me using these big words. I don't even really know if that fits, but you can strike the ball with enough momentum and velocity and hit it real hard. But unless you're like a super professional pool player that knows how to like hit the correct angles with the right amount of English, I'm not one of them type of dudes. I just hit the ball as hard as I can and hope they go where they're supposed to go. And I ain't gonna lie, to some degree, parenting is a lot like that, dog. You hit the ball, you try to hit it at a certain degree to where it goes into the correct hole, but especially when you're breaking, you can't really control when you break where the balls go. Now, I'm pretty sure some professional pool player out there is probably gonna be like, yes, you can. I don't know how to do it, right? And with our kids, it's kind of the same way, man. It's like we do everything we can. We, create the best life that we possibly can, right? Whether it's financially, emotionally, socially, we try to be as present as possible. We try to instill these values, right? But really, to some degree, it's out of our control. Now, the Bible does say, train up a child in the ways of the Lord, in the ways that they should go, and they will not depart from it, right?
Yep.
That's the hope. But we don't have 100% control of how it turns out. And my thing is, how are you guys intentionally, and we'll wrap it up after this, man, because, I want to ask you, like, what would you do if your kid grew up and they turned out to be a crackhead, right? Like, nobody wants to think about that, you know what I'm saying? But it's possible. Some of the best parents in the world have some of the worst outcomes, and it's no knock on them as a parent, right? But what are some of the outcomes, like, what are some of the things you're doing to create those positive outcomes that you want, in your children?
I think for us, we just let our boys know that they're loved. They're extremely loved. They got great family support. Grandparents, aunts, uncles are very close by. We are, very tight familiar unit. And we try to, I try to change the narrative by the way I was raised, by this, no nonsense, do what I say, come hell or high water, and really try to understand, what the best practice is for each of my boys. And my wife talk about that. We talk about this all the time in the way that we want to raise, two young black men in America. You know what I'm saying? And so just, basically, letting them know that they're supported, they're loved. They can come to us, they can talk to us. I'm not your friend, I'm your father, but I love you and I'm here for you. And because I've been through things that you're gonna go through, give you a space to where you feel comfortable to have these types of conversations, having those tough conversations, when they're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you know what I'm saying? So that's what it is for me, and that's what it is for us.
So B, tell me this, man, and Fendi, you can chime in. This is it, man. This is a wrap. I appreciate y'all for kicking it with me. But how do you want to be remembered as a parent? Like, not to get morbid and say, hey, when you die, what's your obituary gonna look like? Nah, man, like, let's say, your kid grows up and they have to give that summa cum laude speech and that valedictorian speech, and you want them to thank you. Like, how do you want them to remember you?
I want to be remembered by what God's responsibility, like what he's placed on me. Priest, provider, and protector. Priest as far as the spiritual leader, the lover, the covering of the house. Provider, not just financially, but emotionally. he said something key. You got to create a safe space. What I know from doing therapy with kids and just in relationships, people only open up and communicate with you when they feel safe. I don't care how much knowledge, how much money you got. I'm not about to open up to you if I don't feel safe.
Yep. People don't care what you know until they know that you care.
So creating that safe place for them to feel comfortable enough because they know that it's all love. You know what I'm saying? And then protect her. Not just, of course we know physically, you know, woe be unto you if you harm my child. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, emotionally protecting them.
Yeah.
So that comes with being patient when I'm upset. Or when you know that you've done something that's gonna really disappoint me. Or your mom. You know what I'm saying? But you know that you can still feel protected emotionally with the way I'm gonna handle the situation. Mm-hmm. So I wanna be remembered as the dad that just loved beyond measure and was, you know, put a smile on your face, gonna hold you accountable, gonna teach you, and just create dope memories on a daily.
This boy ain't hit not one ball.
Not one ball.
Like, not at all. Like,
I was trying to get that too.
He was going for pro
That is
shots.
not how you want to be remembered, ladies and gentlemen.
That's not how you parent. You try to go around the corner.
You do want to avoid obstacles, though. You know what I'm talking about? Like, we can
Come
make
on, man, spin it. Come on.
Look, we can make an analogy out of
Spin it.
anything. You know?
Bro, that's a word.
Hey, but no, seriously, bro. How about you, Fendi?
I just want to be remembered as a father who was present and who loved and was there. I think I love my dad. Yeah. I love him so much. And he's one of the hardest working men that I know. You know, he's done very well with his businesses and things of that nature. I got 2 younger brothers, so we got different moms, but so the age difference is 10 and 13. And my experience growing up with my father and their experience growing up with my dad is just 2 different situations because of businesses and it's just a different time, you know? And so the experience that I have with my dad, you know, my dad took me when I was kidnapped by my mother, as you know, in my book. You know, he got full custody of me and did what he had to do to fight to get me back. And I'm forever indebted for him. I'm forever indebted to him for that. But I think the situation with my 2 younger brothers, they just didn't have that same situation or relationship with my dad. And I think that has played such a huge role on me. I want to be present and I want to have a presence in my sons' lives. Whatever they go through, whatever they walk through, I want to be there with them. You know, Lord willing that, you know, my days are long. I can experience that and be able to provide some type of like guidance and love and openness, you know, for whatever they're going through. Like they don't care about how much money I make. They don't care about what things they'll have or what cars.
My daughter did.
Listen.
No, I'm just playing. She's a teenager. So, hey, Daddy, can I take your picture? But it's gonna cost you $30. I'm like, what? Like,
no matter what it is in life, bro. Playing in the NFL, you know, just having, you know, relationships with different people in life. All you have are the memories. You can't take nothing else with you. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that's so important, like having those memories, you know, and being able to experience those things. That's why we're like, hey, we're going to Disney World next week. We're going, and this won't be the first time. We're going several times because I want them to have those experiences. I want to be able to cherish those memories. Like, man, we was young, we used to go to Disney World. You know what I'm saying? And then that's something they can probably do with their kids, creating and building traditions.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even in the midst of a broken home, I still have some of those memories. You know, they may be vague because I tried to like, you know, block them, but I still have those camping memories, those fishing memories, and all that stuff, man. So
kids don't care about the big stuff. They spell love T-I-M-E.
That's it, bro.
And it plays such a big role, bro, because you could be 37 years old, you could be 35 years old, and you're gonna remember when you were 8 years old and you did such and such with your pops, right?
That's it, dog.
Memories.
Yep, that's it. That's all at this day and age, bro. That's all I want sometimes is for my dad to still be here. You know, to meet the twins, to see Carter. You know what I'm saying? And so not to get too sad about it, but yeah, bro. I think I had an answer prepared, but you just changed my entire answer. Like, no lie, bro. Like, I think I want my kids to remember me fighting for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that probably changed your life, knowing that you were chosen, that you know, because a lot of kids, they feel left behind and they don't feel the love, but somebody fought for you, bro. Somebody was like, no, I love him so much. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna sacrifice money. I'm gonna sacrifice this just because I love them. And even though I'm not separated from my kids, it's still a fight. It's still a struggle. It's a struggle for their purity. It's a struggle for their integrity. It's a struggle for their intelligence. It's a struggle for everything in this day and age, right? Yeah. You got TikTok and IG and this and that and everything. And it's been around for years. Like, I'm not gonna act like it's something totally new, but I think I wanna be remembered as somebody who fought for my babies. Yeah. right? So man, I appreciate you, dog.
Appreciate
you. You know
you,
what I'm talking about? Now, right now, I'm gonna fight y'all on this pool table because y'all been lollygagging. You know what I'm saying? It's time to really crank up the heat a little bit, dog. But I appreciate y'all, man, and of course the homie VA from the Candy Shack for letting us come kick it with him. And this is going to be a very easy fight, ladies and gentlemen. My turn.
Rod was the man of the family. Mom worked 2 jobs just so we can have sandwiches. Anything good always came with some damages. I had to stick to the code like it's laminate.